Hi guys, Tim Kratiris here from Social Media Servants. We've just finished writing a blog for Ragtrader for the upcoming Fashion Exposed. For those of you who don't know Ragtrader, you really should if you're watching this, but they're the Australian apparel and fashion industry news magazine. Got a great online presence and a great offline publication. So if you haven't checked them out, please click through to the links that you'll find below. We've written a blog answering some of the questions we're going to go through at Fashion Exposed, but when we write a blog, we always leave information out because we obviously can't fill half the magazine with our thoughts on things and some advice. So we'd like to shoot a video that will go with it. So anyone who's interested or wants some further information, hopefully we can give you some content that you can use right now for your brand. So the first question that we were asked to write about was, what is the biggest impact that social media has had on the Australian retail landscape? Personally, we believe, and we deal with about 50 fashion clients currently, that the connectivity that customers now have with brands and businesses is just extraordinary. A lot of Australian retail, and they're getting better now, has been sluggish to really understand how that's going to affect their business. That you have to position yourself in a community where you're the first point of call when your customer's about to purchase. We now are seeing worldwide competition, okay? So with a click of a button, I can buy from virtually anywhere in the world. So the importance of connecting with your customer, being in their daily lives, being front of mind, and particularly retailers that have an offline presence, you need to understand that the interaction between on and offline are not two different parts of your business. To get people in store, to be retailing in tomorrow's environment, you need to start bringing the two together. And once you do that, you're going to start finding opportunities and creating customer experience that wants them, rather than to just look for best price online, to actually really interact with you. That's both on and offline. So the biggest impact we see is just through the connectivity and brands and businesses now being able to talk to their customers every single day. We think that by far has had the biggest impact on every business, but every retailer. Second question, not all consumers' target markets socialize via the same social channels. How can retailers best decide which social media channels to focus on to add value to their business? This is actually a question we do get a lot. Knowing your customer is so important. It's more important than it ever has been, because what successful businesses, specifically retailers, need to know now is who's actually buying from them. And when you understand that person, you can start to really direct your strategy, even the product that you're buying and selling, towards that. You can really go deep with niches and different target markets by getting to know them on a next level. So for instance, if I know that I'm a swimwear brand and I'm selling to 20 to 30-year-old females, I need to understand the type of person, because not all 20 to 30-year-old females is buying the type of swimwear that I'm selling. You actually have to know it on a different level. So if you know that it is 20 to 30-year-old females that holiday in Queensland or holiday in Bali, they like this type of garment, they like this type of lifestyle, this is the way they holiday, it's always with their girlfriends, or it's always like this. You need to know it down to the nitty-gritty, because once you understand exactly who your target market is, you can start to work out what platforms they're conversing on, where they're connecting on, and where they want to be or connected with your brand. So the importance of understanding your target market in today's and tomorrow's business environments is essential. And most people say, I know my target market. It's, men 35 to 45. That is 50 years ago thinking. It is not good enough in this day and age. It is about micro-niching, finding segments, owning segments, being the preeminent brand in that segment, and really understanding everything from how to market to them, how to get product in their hand, how to get them engaged with your business, and back to the question, which platforms they're playing in. Once you understand that, you have such an advantage over all competitors that it's not funny. You just have to go to that next level now and really delve into your customers' lives, and perhaps not the customers you have now, but the customers you really want. Okay, so really find that out. But we find the biggest mistake that most retailers are making is that they are way too broad with who their customer is. A gender and an age gap of 5 years is simply not good enough in today's connected world, particularly the business world. So you have to go to the next level. Find out exactly who you want to target, and then you'll know what platforms, and they're the ones. So some of the examples that we use here is young women that buy swimwear love Instagram. Actually, most women that are buying clothes love Instagram. Pinterest is another one, whereas you've got guys that are particularly in, that love adventure sports and all that. They're big on Twitter, they're big on YouTube, they're big on, leaving their videos of their, tough mutters and all that. That you need to understand your market so well, and then the platforms are actually really simple, because the more you connect with your target market, you'll actually see what platforms they're playing in, and that's just where you need to put your brand and your business. 3, Facebook and Twitter have now been around for a while, but Instagram and Pinterest are the newer entrants. That have been making waves, Are there any social media channels that are growing in popularity or can be leveraged to benefit businesses and connect with customers? Okay, this question's very interesting. A lot of you might not know, but there's a hell of a lot of different social platforms being launched every single year. There's always a big bunch of them that don't make it. Obviously, the ones that do make it are highly successful, but the ones that don't, they get a little bit of critical mass and then die away. So for people like us that are sort of every single day on every single platform running it for multiple brands over multiple industries, we start to wait to see which ones take effect. But you do get ones like Snapchat at the moment that are actually a lot of fun, and they create creative opportunities for brands to connect. So if your target market is using Snapchat, or you want to start doing things that are a little bit more creative, a little bit more cutting edge, you can grab a platform like that. Now, we don't know where they're going to be in a couple of years' time. They might actually be huge, they might be absorbed by one of these other bigger platforms, or they might disappear because people are just bored of it. You just don't know. But when something like Snapchat, which is really popular at the moment, comes along, if you're an innovative brand, you can start to look at, right, we're going to run particular campaigns that incorporate this, because you'll get a lot of your early adopters, if they're the right demographic, also being involved with it, which is actually a lot of fun. So Snapchat's one I'd say have a look at, but more importantly, one that we think is highly underutilized and that's just going to be big, and everyone keeps writing it off, but Google Plus. When Google Glass is mainstream and everyone's wearing these glasses and it's connected and it's integrated to Google, and you've also got IPTV running a lot of Android, you must not forget Google Plus. It's almost the laughing stock of social at the moment. Everyone talks about Google Plus, and talks about crickets and hay bales going through because no one's on it. It's actually a beautiful platform. There's beautiful integration, and it will get good. So if we look back 30 years ago when we're saying, everyone would have laughed at you owning a Mac instead of a PC. Macs were actually easier to use. They had some really cool stuff going for them, but they just didn't get the uptake until sort of Jobs came on his second go of it, and now look at it as a brand. Google Plus has got very similar characteristics of what was happening there. So don't write it off. If you're a business, especially this year and ongoing, make sure you're on Google Plus and make sure you're understanding that platform, because our belief is it's just going to go from strength to strength in the future. And last question. One of the biggest questions now is, how can retailers monetize social media avenues? What are the top tips? And then in our view, how much time or budget should retailers be dedicating to growing, improving their social media channels? We'll start with the first part of the question, how to monetize. No one is going to monetize social unless you have a connection with your community. If you think throwing money just at advertising is going to work, you won't get the return on investment by not having the connection. Connection plus advertising spend will start getting you sales. We're seeing what Facebook's doing, particularly where they're starting to really make it hard for you to get content out to your community unless it's highly relevant and unless you pay. So that's going to continue on in the next 18 months for sure. So in order to monetize and get your best return on investment, you must have a close connection with your community. If you don't have that, do not play on social media. okay? Your brand must be social to get the correct return on investment. So there's no point throwing money at anything if you don't want to put the work on connection. So that leads to the second part of the question, which is how much time should I spend? Now, depending on a whole bunch of factors, the time you spend depends on how big your business is, what you're trying to achieve, your strategic plan in the next couple of years, and so on. We deal with businesses that have got turnovers from $250,000 to $250 million. And I can tell you that there's not one business there that wouldn't be investing, or we investing for them, between 15 and 20 hours of work per week, minimum. Now, a lot of people are sitting there going, that is just not feasible. I can't find 20 hours a week to be doing this. It's social. It's not returning me any money just yet. There's no way I can do it. And the answer we have that is, so don't. Don't do it. Someone else is hungrier. Someone else is finding a way. Someone else is going to get it and start hunting your clients. Right now, our team are hunting your clients 24 hours a day. So if you're sitting there going, well, I can't invest time in that, no problem. But just know that in tomorrow's environments, tomorrow's business and retail environments, if you're not connected to your communities, if you're not dealing with your customers every single day, being front of mind, there is someone who is investing in that relationship and they're going to do it. So I get at the moment for different sized businesses, this can be a cost and there needs to be ways of working out how do you actually integrate it. But the cost for you guys of not doing it is you will simply not exist. People laugh, but it's like now if you're saying, well, my business, do you know a business that doesn't have a website now? Look at the type of business that doesn't have a website. This is the same with social. This is what you have to do now. Find a way of managing it. I know it's tough, but that's what business owners do. They find a way to solve problems. So that's the answers. Guys, check out Ragtrader, subscribe, particularly if you're in Australian retail. Have a look, check out the guys. If you're around for Fashion Exposed, pop in and say hello. Look forward to meeting you. And yet again, thank you, Ragtrader. We love working with you guys, love writing for you guys, and we'll see you again soon.